What is up, Ravens Flock? Huge shout out for your support for the 410 Sports Talk. James and Glenn are the best in the business. They're killing it right now. They love talking Raven talk. Make sure you go subscribe to their channel. Let's go Ravens. Big trust.
Welcome everyone to another draft edition of 410 Sports Talk. I'm Glenn Martin here with my co-host as always, James Haskell. And we're going to discuss another fourth-round pick, one of the many fourth-round picks for the Baltimore Ravens this year. And this time we're going back to a familiar place, Jimbo, a place that the Ravens have gone to often, even at corner, a ton often as well. And that's, of course, the University of Alabama. This time they go get Jalyn Armour-Davis, a cornerback, in the fourth round. So, Jimbo, what can you tell us about the newest Raven, Jalyn Armour-Davis?
Yeah, so I learned a few things. Now, look, we're in the fourth round, guys. So Glenn and I naturally, based on bandwidth, it's hard to focus on every single prospect, right? So after they make the pick, you go to your sources to learn about these guys. And first thing I want to say is Alabama is the gift that keeps on giving. Mm-hmm. Second, you know a lot about a kid when he goes to the program at Alabama. So I'm excited about this kid because he has all of the – similar to the guy we drafted previously at the offensive tackle out of Minnesota, has a lot of raw abilities and has shown flashes of the ability to put it together. And he's good at, I read a few things that he's a good, I'm going to see if I can say this right, mirrorer of routes. He's good at mirroring routes. He usually doesn't end up in a lot of scenarios where there's a lot of yards after catch, which is important. He's a solid tackler. He's a willing tackler. And he does well in man. So those are the things that I'm really excited about, along with the physical gifts coming from Alabama. And the Ravens, obviously had enough faith in him to pick him. But like you said, Glenn, the draft wouldn't be complete if we didn't go to Alabama, right?
No doubt. And anytime you go and draft an Alabama defensive player, you know that, especially in the secondary, that there's going to be a lot of scheme familiarity because they both like to run man and get up in your face and bully a little bit at the line of scrimmage. So, Anthony Avert, now he's gone, but he was here and played well for us. Obviously, Marlon Humphrey is a staple and an all-pro and certainly a leader on this Ravens team. And now he'll be able to take Jalyn Armour-Davis under his wing and teach him a lot, because I think they have some similarities in the height, the weight, the speed. The guy ran a 4.39 at the combine, and that speed shows up on film. It's not like one of those guys that is fast in shorts, but is not fast on the field.
Separation is not a thing that is commonly, that you come across commonly in his tape, right? Like, he is up on these guys. Even if a catch is made, he is on them like stink on poop.
That's right. And if they do get some separation, he has makeup speed. Now, you mentioned how he's up on them, and you're right. So some of the negatives behind him is he can get a little handsy. He can
sounds like Alabama corner, right?
Yeah, he can get some penalties. But I like a more physical guy where you run the risk of those issues than a guy who's the opposite, where he lacks physicality. So I don't want a guy who's scared. Let the ref
dictate that, not the player.
Exactly. I don't want a guy who's scared to match up against a bigger, stronger guy. I like a guy like Armour-Davis here who doesn't have those issues. So he's got the desired length, he's got the desired speed and athleticism, but he's raw and he needs some polishing, which, we can develop corners here in Baltimore. It's shown in the history. They've had a ton of good ones, and I don't think anything changes when it comes. Now, he's a lot of the fact that he's raw is because he just doesn't have a ton of playing experience.
He's a one-year starter, right?
He's a one-year starter, and people can say, well, that's kind of weird. Well, not at Alabama, because everyone in front of him is a five-star recruit and is likely playing on Sundays right now. So it's not a typical one-year starter at a school where, man, he couldn't beat the talent out there. Well, it's pretty hard to beat the older talent at Alabama, considering they're oftentimes the top position, guy at their position.
Forget about playing on Saturdays. Practice is probably more valuable. Let's be honest, right? Like, think about, he's going up against Jamison Williams, and throughout the year, he obviously, Devontae, the receiver that went to Devontae Smith and Waddle, and look, every day in practice, every rep, it's like, remember back in the day when A-Rod and Jeter and all these guys were on the Yankees and you'd play the MLB, like 2K, whatever. You're like, dude, can I pitch to someone that's not an all-star?
Yeah.
It's so, like, every rep in one-on-ones, he's like, really? Like, can I get one guy that I just dominate like in high school? No, you can't, right? So I agree with you there. I'm interested in now. One thing to mention here is that he's not a slot guy. At least, he's an outside guy, which is good because that was a need that we had.
Yeah.
And so that is something worth mentioning as well, because remember, guys, Marcus Peters deal, he's in the last year of it. They haven't renegotiated. They haven't extended it. Not saying that that's not a possibility, but as it stands, he's in the last year of his deal.
Yeah.
So we need to continue.
And we got a bunch of slot guys. I mean, we got we may not have
Darius,
like slot corners,
Stevens.
but we got a bunch of safeties that can handle themselves and have shown that in the past in the slot. They'll be just fine. What we needed is depth at the outside, at the outside corner, and this guy will provide that. And he's got a ton of upside. So while he's raw right now, he needs some polishing. He needs all that. That's fine. Let's get him into a program like the Ravens that can consistently develop guys like him. Because look, he's got the things you can't teach, which is height, weight, length, and speed. You can't get faster once you get to the league. I mean, you could maybe shade a 100th, but you're either fast or you're not typically. Yeah. I love his pro comparison. It's Anthony Averett is his pro comparison.
Perfect.
And yeah, he certainly showed his value here last season with the injuries they sustained.
And didn't Chris Sims rate him higher than Stingley in this draft?
Yes, Chris Sims had Armour-Davis as the third best corner in the draft behind Ahmad Gardner and the guy from Washington with the shorter arms.
McDuffie.
Yes, Trent McDuffie. So yeah, I mean it's another great value pick for the Ravens. They continue to really knock this draft out of the park. I watched any of these draft experts, whether it's PFF's team, Bleacher Report, CBS with Chris Sims in them, I mean, have been raving about what the Ravens have done. And this is just another example of it in Jalyn Armour-Davis.
Absolutely. So, I mean, I give it an A, a solid A.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Not an A plus because there is a bit of projecting, but also still an A because we're in the fourth round.
I was going to say, I mean, it's all projecting when you're in the fourth round.
Yeah. So how much of a sure thing are you going to get, right?
Right, but the Ravens certainly have a history of finding some gems. So let us know what you guys think. Is Jalyn Armour-Davis exactly what they needed to help bolster that cornerback room, or was there another guy that was maybe on the board that you were hoping that they'd snatch up? And yeah, let us know in the thoughts below, and we'll talk soon.